episode 3 of the Truth Serum with me. I want to talk about the Cowboys game against the Eagles and how they handled up despite everybody, including myself, how we had our doubts and our concerns about the team going forward after losing 3 straight, starting off 3-0, of course, and how this team has its moments. And honestly, I just want to bring to you guys some thoughts that honestly you probably already were thinking, but I'm just going to give you my perspective of it, and we can, debate here and there if you feel like it. This team is very much of what they call it enigma, a mystery, and even then when you look at the NFL of itself, like there's times where teams can blow a team out one week and the next week come home and just lay an egg. I mean, everybody loves to talk about Russell Wilson and the Seattle Seahawks, but they lost 2 games at home to teams that aren't necessarily playing, world-beating offense on you. Like they're just, good here and there. And I'm talking about the Saints. I mean, they played very well against them, but even then, Baltimore. So it's just like the NFL can be weird at times. And I'm not saying 100% it's all the Cowboys' fault, because to the point, things happen. But I feel like the Cowboys in the last 3 games that they played before this one, they were all in the game. And they all lost by combined 14 points. Unbelievable to think about, because when they lose, we feel like they got blown out or they've been exposed and it's just trash. Such is the world that we live in as Cowboy fans, that every loss is that great and every win is just so magnificent that we get caught on either side. But if you talk to a Cowboys player or a franchise or some guy in the front office or whatnot, they don't look at it either way. They always try to stay even keel, and that's been Jason Garrett's mantra from day one. Just try to maintain balance. The team itself played at a level that few people expected. Very, very, very few people expected. I sensed that they were going to do this. However, I say this much. I sensed it. At the same time, I didn't project it, if that makes sense. I sensed that they would do something like this, but I didn't project it. Only because I've seen this before, where the whole world says, no, they're not going to win. No, their back's against the wall. No, Jason Garrett needs to be fired. We automatically throw this team away. And that's when these guys are playing now for pride and personal, with the self-respect of being a professionally paid athlete. You have this desire in your head, in your mind, to say, look, we're not going to lose anymore. It is what it is, but we got to go out there and play hard and finish what we started. We started off great, but we got to finish these games off. We're not finishing them right. We're not starting right, and we're not finishing right. We may play okay in the middle, but we haven't started right. We haven't came with a mentality ready to knock somebody in the teeth and keep on knocking them out. Not just taking one hit and then that's it. No, you have to keep going. And that's what they had on Sunday night. They went into this game with the mentality of knowing what was at stake. They win, they sit at the top of the NFC East with a 3-game lead, having beaten everybody. And they needed this game to not only keep themselves ahead of the division, but also right the ship. Just right the ship. You face 3 teams, one of which you shouldn't have lost to, 2 of which you've been in the game, but a few unfortunate things took place and you end up losing by a close margin. And now you needed to prove to the world, not only to the world, but to yourselves, that you are capable of competing at a high level in this league. And what we as fans have to understand is, going forward, is there are going to be games where they not necessarily play up to par, but there should be no reason for them to get away from what they are known for. And I felt like the few games that they played that they lost, they were off for whatever reason, or they were out-coached, but it was uncharacteristic mistakes. They're still being heavily penalized. That's been a big issue that, honestly, I don't know how they change it, but it's going to be where every 2 or 3 plays they're averaging a holding, a holding, pass interference, something that either makes or breaks them. This particular game, it just brought a touchdown to the Philadelphia Eagles. It was 2 penalties that Philly got in favor of them on one drive, and then after that, they were done. But I feel like going forward, Cowboys have to find a way to rectify that. Somehow work with the refs, talk with the refs, get something clear so that you can have them on your side like Aaron Rodgers does. Anyway, the Cowboys running backs are were prepared. They came with reckless abandon as far as running. Zeke ran super hard. Then you had Tony Pollard, who got more touches. I hope the Cowboys know what they have in this young man. This dude can ball. He got ability to catch. He can block, I'm sure. I haven't seen it yet, but I think he can. Because Cowboys do their due diligence on just not being a running back, but an all-around football player. And not only that, he doesn't give up on the first set of contact. And you need that to keep Zeke fresh. And I feel like the team itself is putting themselves at a limitation by not finding ways to get the ball in his hands in space. Not just turning around and handling the ball, but try to create some bubbles, some quicks, some slants or something to get him some opportunities against these against these linebackers. Similar to what the Saints do with Alvin Kamara and how they had Mark Ingram the last 2 years. Ground pound, pass the ball out, and make sure your offense is on the field by catching the defense, looking back, trying to do random stuff and get, real creative on you. But at the same time, they don't have a matchup for your running backs. That's the way the Cowboys should try to approach it if they are to be successful. You have a 2-back system, utilize it to the best of your ability. As much as we love Zeke, relieve Zeke of having to carry the bulk of the offense. It's not necessarily a good thing going forward. Amari Cooper, a route running machine. Boy was on fire. After being hurt and missing out, he came back with the vengeance to be expected. Cowboys are missing their bookend tackles, and you can tell that had an effect on the passing game because Dak was efficient. 21 of 27, 239, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, and a rushing touchdown. But it was like Dak looked so flawless. He looked like he knew what he was doing. He didn't have any moments. He may have a moment where he held the ball too long, but that's to be expected when you're trying to be more prolific passer. I really like to see him take off running, and the thing about the Cowboys did have some design runs for Dak, and I'm like, where was that the previous week? And I can go on and on about that, but these are one of them games that, honestly, I didn't expect. The turnovers that were forced on 2 Philadelphia Eagles offensive possessions were very characteristic of the Cowboys, to be honest. Fumbles forced, picks. It's like, where was this at? You don't have to go through the grind of keeping your offense on the field when your defense is opportunistic. It helps both offense and defense and special teams when you force turnovers. It makes it that much easier for the team you're facing for them to get out of their game plan, and now you have the fun. You get to create what you like. You get to dictate. You get to set up how you want to do it because the team is now at your mercy.